Welcome to the latest JVM event in London. Today we have Filippo Di Pisa speaking, who is currently writing his new title, NFTs in Java. Filippo will provide an introduction to Web3 and creating generative art NFTs in Java. Please feel free to ask any questions in the chat box throughout. And yeah, without further ado, over to you, Filippo.
Hi guys, welcome to everyone. I'm audible and visible. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, hi guys. So my name is Filippo Di Pisa. I consider myself a massive geek. In this webinar, I want to show you my understanding of the Web3 and my journey to that as well. And then a project that I'm working on in Java to help the community to create generative art with an open source platform. So my journey in this space started in the late 2012. I was developing a trading application for a bank and in the FX space. So we were dealing with currency pair every day. And one day, a colleague of mine told me that he was mining cryptocurrencies with his own computer. So my curiosity was piqued. I started digging. I tried to understand why I missed that, how you can mine a cryptocurrency, and so on. So I started digging in. Learning, try to figure it out what was happening in the space. And after a couple of years, I started building with my kids a computer that they called Money Machine, the Money Machine. And I bought computer video cards, GPUs, and some CPUs as well, hard drives, and we started building a mining rig, hoping to start getting some token. But I have to say I was completely hopeless. But when we plugged into the network, the things started working and we saw tokens coming in. So that's why my kid, they called the Money Machine. And after that, I scaled it up and my house became so hot that I had to put everything into a data center. So now let's try to understand the evolution and why we need the Web3. So you see, we are at the moment, we are in the second iteration on the web. In the late 80s, we started with the first iteration of the web. And the web was built at the beginning with the idea of a decentralized network where anyone could build anything and free speech, free content, but quickly turned it into a centralized platform. How? So at the beginning, this version of the web, we can consider it static web. Users that were going there, they were browsing, requesting content. We saw the first browser, the first website, the first servers, the first search engine. But still, there was a little engagement between the users. And to connect to the web, we had to use ISP, Internet Service Provider, and to deploy our website, we were buying hosting from hosting company. So all of this made the web completely centralized. The only good things that at the time, our user data were still with us. So this was a classic architecture. Probably you guys are Java developers or are in the JVM community. At the time, we were deploying our GSP and HTML pages into a web server, and that web server was running on a physical machine, running into a data center. And if we had to scale up, we had to buy more hardware and create clusters of machines, and was quite complicated. So the Web 2 solve the problem of user interaction. So with the advent of social networks, users started interacting between themselves, producing content, showing their beautiful or not lives. And then when Steve Jobs launched the iPhone, the smartphone, the tablets, the web became mainstream, went mainstream, and it scaled very quickly in a manner that we couldn't cope with the technology, and we had to build an infrastructure that was a kind of infrastructure on demand, and without going and buying a physical machine every time we had to build an application. So this is where the cloud company started. The first was AWS, and we had the apps, and the problem of this Web2, that is the current version of the web, that the user information such as identity, transaction history, credit score, everything is aggregated and frequently resold by other company. And we are not getting anything from that, right? So they are monetizing our data. They are studying our behavior. So we lost completely control of our privacy. And the web became completely centralized because of this. So there are 4, 5, or 6 big players that they control completely the internet. So this is an example of a distributed architecture of the current web. We don't have physical machines, at least we don't buy physical machine anymore. Our architecture is completely serverless. We can pay for the execution of our code, and we don't need to care about scaling hardware by new machine, by new servers. And this is what the cloud offers. So why we need the Web3? So the Web3, the idea of the Web3 is that some clever guys started creating a new protocol to try to bring back the open protocol and the decentralization that we try to achieve with Web 1. So this guy, they started creating a decentralized network, and they solved the problem of validating transactions without having intermediaries, right? So, and this, the first network of the blockchain was, probably you all know, the Bitcoin network. And with the Bitcoin, you have fungible tokens that you can exchange, and you can create transaction between users without any intermediary that can prove that the transaction is valid. So this was a massive achievement. The first transaction was the famous transaction when 2 users, they used Bitcoin to buy a pizza. And that was the start of this world. So the Web3 is a set of technologies, not just blockchain. It's a decentralization with the blockchain, the apps, and then another revolutionary thing is the smart contracts. Then the NFTs, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality or augmented reality. So this is a classic example of a decentralized application. So as you see, all the computer, the Ethereum network is running all around the world. There is no physical centralized space. And to communicate to the network, we can use JSON RPC. And there are frameworks out there. One of these is written in Java. It is called Web3j, that simplifies the communication between our Java application and the Ethereum network. So all of these smart contracts are simply programs stored on a blockchain. And this allows us to own assets and verify authenticity of these assets on the internet. Before, or even before it was impossible. So if on the Web2, if I own a digital image, I cannot prove that I own it. I need a third-party entity that proves that I own that entity, that digital asset. In the Web3, thanks to the smart contract, that they store the transaction and the ownership in the blockchain, I can demonstrate that the asset linked to that particular token is mine. So there are many metaverse, many platforms now where you can buy this kind of asset, digital assets. One of the one that I'm playing, I'm investing, is called Upland. What they did, they recreated the entire world like Google Map, but then you can go there and buy lands. So if you want, you can go in New York or Los Angeles and go to Hollywood and buy a property in Hollywood, or buy a piece of land, and then you can start building properties there, right? And so that's what I did. When you buy that property, you get a token into the blockchain with that property linked into that token. So this is called an NFT, a non-fungible token. A non-fungible token is a token like a cryptocurrency, but with properties. So properties mean that I can add links to a digital asset or even to a real asset, and I can demonstrate the ownership of that particular asset. So the first movers in this space, they were the CryptoPunks. So in the NFT space, we have several segments. So we can use NFTs for art, a single piece of art, for example, music. We can use NFTs for physical assets, and also to generative art. So what is generative art? Generative art is art created by algorithms. So these guys, they're called the CryptoPunk guys, they created an algorithm who generated thousands of these little faces that you see on my screen. And what they did, the algorithm made sure that each image is unique. And they gave a rarity score to each image. A rarity score means that one image has this set of eyes, a particular mouse, or a color, and they gave that a combination of these items gave this rarity to this particular image. Then they started experimenting, they launched it. At the beginning, they didn't get any traction, but at some point, people started minting their NFTs. When you mint an NFT, it means that you own that NFT. So the transaction gets stored into the blockchain. So this means that at the time, these CryptoPunks, they were free. You could go there and get them for free, and you can show the ownership showing in the NFTs in the blockchain. But at some point, they became so popular that, as you can see, the sales volume for some of them, it went to more than 5 million. So last Christmas, I decided to create something similar, but different. And I had an idea to create an NFT collection called the Penguin Society. So, but I wanted to create this collection automatically. So with an algorithm that was capable to generate all my penguins automatically. And I wanted to create 10,000 penguins. So I went to the web. I tried to search for some platform to create generative arts. I found few of them. But the problem was that apart generating the art, then I had to create the application to deploy these penguins to a marketplace, to the blockchain. And this application, it is called the smart contract. So I had to create the smart contract. I found few smart contracts out there. And then I had to deploy all the images somewhere, right? Because the smart contract is living in the blockchain, but the assets linked to the smart contract has to live somewhere else. And you cannot put the asset into a centralized platform like hosting in the AWS cloud, for example, on an S3 bucket, because it's still centralized. So I decided to put there is a distributed file system called IPFS, Interplanetary File System, and I decided to put it there. But again, to deploy something to the IPFS is not so straightforward. Then I found other websites that they claim to deploy your NFT in 10 minutes, but you need to pay for those services. So this is the Java art engine that I'm working on. So the idea is, if you see on the left, the artist has to create, without the art engine, the artist has to create the assets, the layers, and the metadata, because each NFT needs the properties that we call metadata, and the asset that can be an image, can be a video, can be whatever. And then you need to upload the images and the metadata to this interplanetary file system. Then you need to create a smart contract. Make sure that your smart contract is robust enough. You can copy one, and in your smart contract, you're going to say, okay, the maximum item that I want to create are 10,000. And every time that someone mint the NFT, basically the smart contract knows. And so it will go down, down, and down. And then the smart contract knows the transaction. So it is the application that is living in the blockchain. So all of this, you really need to know what you're doing, or there is a little bit of learning curve. So I decided to create a Java platform that with one command generates the art, creates the JSON metadata, and deploys everything to IPFS, and create the smart contract and deploy the smart contract to at the moment, the Ethereum blockchain. So in the future, we want to expand it to other blockchain, because Ethereum at the moment, it is quite expensive. So every time that you deploy something to Ethereum, you need to pay the gas fees, and there is a network commission. And the gas fees at the moment are quite high. So you risk to spend more to mint, to deploy your NFT to the Ethereum network than buy it. So this is an example of the configuration file to create an NFT collection. So you can give the name, the description, the date, and then you can see here is the external URL where you want to launch your centralized website. You could also build a decentralized website. Nowadays, in Ethereum, we have domain registration as NFTs, and also DNS services, so as an NFT. So at the moment, each address in the decentralized network is a combination of numbers and letters, so it is quite difficult, more difficult than an IP number. And what they are doing, so you could run your website in IPFS, completely decentralized, and you could create a domain in the Ethereum name service, and that will generate an NFT telling that you own that name for that particular network. And then you can point your name to your decentralized website. Then here I can set the IPFS URI, where this is a folder where I store my images and my metadata. And all the marketplace, they need the metadata, so they can show the rarity, all the properties of an image. And then I tell where is the layer folder on my computer. The layers, when, for example, for the penguin, imagine that the layers are the body, the head, the accessories like glasses or hats, the shoes, and then they are to each layer, I can assign a rarity score. So for example, I can say this layer is very rare, or this item on this layer is super rare. So both, I can set the rarity index at the layer level and also at the image level. So here, for example, I'm creating a collection I call Warrior. You can create many collections. So this is an array of collection. And the description, the size here, I'm going to create just 10 warriors. And then I set the rarity delimiter because each image inside this folder will have a rarity score, okay? And then the DNA tolerance is a combination of rarity index, oops. And in the, oh wow. And here in my NFT layers, I can give the rarity as well to a layer, an entire layer. When I run these things, it's gonna create 10 warriors like this one, okay? And then we did for pirates, we did for royals, space. So the algorithm creates NFTs for us. And then I have a command in the platform, like in Git, where I can push the NFTs to a test network or to the main network in Ethereum. And when you push, basically, it's gonna push the assets to IPFS and it's gonna deploy the smart contract into the blockchain. So with NFTs, I'm writing a book about NFTs because I really believe that in the Web3, we are getting the control of the network back to the user. So we can shift the control and we can enhance the internet as we know it today with trustless protocols, with stateful and native built-in payments. It could be permissionless, right? So what is missing in this space at the moment? There are still barriers for both consumers and also developers. So the idea of the Penguin Society is to build a society of developers that they create open source platforms to improve this space. And there is a lot of people there already that they are doing it, but we are still missing a lot of tools, a lot of platform, user interfaces. So for example, if I want to buy something, I need to set up a wallet. To set up a wallet, some people, for example, my wife or my friends, even if they want to buy these NFTs, they cannot do it. They don't know how to set up a wallet. They don't know where to store the keys. They don't know, there is still a barrier on this. And my ideas is to show the Java community and to stimulate the Java community to start writing libraries on top of Ethereum, on top of other blockchain network, right? There is one blockchain network that is fully based on Java that is called Corda. But I would like to have in Ethereum, in Algorand. There are still developers doing it, but I think we should mobilize more and more people and start helping this space to move fully to the Web3. So this is it. Any questions, guys?
Thanks, Filippo. Really appreciate it. We've got Darshan in the chat that's asked, is it possible to convert all the applications in Web 2 to Web 3? How tough will it be if it's possible, as companies would like to keep data centralized?
So I suggest that any companies should start thinking to a strategy like this, because at least any company should have a strategy now to move to the Web3, at least part of their business. I'm not saying 100%. And to move your entire application, it depends what you need to do. But yes, you can still keep the UI, but at the API level, you need to create kind of proxies or facade to start working with the Web3. So it is not so easy. And when you move to the Web3, you will see also that maintaining the application and sending updates or all this kind of stuff, it is more difficult than on the Web 2.
Thanks for that, Filippo. And someone's asked, how secure is an NFT?
So it depends on how you write your smart contract. So if you write your smart contract properly, it is secure as the blockchain security. But if you make errors in your smart contract, it could be a disaster as well.
Cool. And someone else has asked, is the Java art engine open source?
So it will go open source after we launch the NFT Collection, the Penguin Society, so in December, and it will be under the MIT open source license.
And so someone else has asked, is it illegal if NFT provides a return on investment to the buyer?
So there are two types of NFTs. There are utilities and security. Securities NFTs, they promise something in the future for you. It is this kind of security, the SEC in US, they see as an investment. So is not illegal, but you really need to use your legal department to take care of this properly. You need to do it properly.
Thanks for that. And someone has asked, could you explain again why you can't host layers on S3 and have to use IPFS?
So an NFT is a token, right? And it is a smart contract. So this smart contract is running in the blockchain, okay? In Ethereum is a big computer, Turing complete. So when if you could have your images in S3, but it's not going to be fully decentralized, right? So you're using a centralized component that is S3 to link your assets to as a decentralized application or token. So it is standard to upload these items to IPFS.
Thanks for that. And Mehdi has asked, how can we get a Penguin Society NFT? And says that they look great.
So you can, if you are interested, send us an email. I put the emails know@penguinsociety.com, and we will add you to the whitelist. And when we launch, you will get one NFT for free.
Nice one. And I guess anyone else have any further questions? This is the time to ask. But no, Filippo, really appreciate it. It's been really great listening. And I guess if give it a couple more seconds, see if anyone has any questions or any final thoughts that you want to come across. Yeah, just now's the time. Cool. All right then, everyone. Well, really appreciate everyone joining. Filippo, really appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. Feel free to reach out to me, anyone, if you'd like a recording of the meetup, or if you have any direct questions that you'd like to pass on to Filippo, then please send me over a message. And yeah, we'll pass it on to them. But thank you very much, Filippo. Really appreciate it. Everyone have a fantastic evening, and yeah, we'll catch you on the next one, which we're hoping is going to be in person in the new year.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.